Yo, what's up with y'all boys and girls, man? Hey, it's Jay Briggs here. Picks from the DawgHouse, NFL edition. Got Big Al McMorty with me and Sean Murphy. For to break down every single NFL game on the card, man. Let you guys know our opinions, our thoughts, and how we're feeling. Just keeping it rolling, man. Trying to keep it business as usual. Al, how you doing today, sir?
Doing good. Had a crap day yesterday in basketball. So looking forward to the football week. I mean, I'm actually looking forward to tonight's basketball as well. I think it's hopefully just a one day, downturn and things snap back. I'm sure it will. But yeah, yesterday was bad in basketball for me.
Yeah, and then one bad day, you're having a tremendous season. I'm sure you'll snap out of it. Sean, how you doing today, my man?
Good, Jay. Yeah, I had that one bad day on Monday, so had a good weekend in the NFL. And then Monday, yeah, my two NFL plays Monday didn't go well. Basketball's been rolling. NFL has been actually good for the last few weeks, but just Monday night didn't go my way. But we'll get right back on track here. Big card this week with every team in action. So see what we can do.
See what we can do, fellas. Let's go ahead and
Did
do.
you have the under in the Vikings Bears game on Monday, Sean?
No, I had the Bears plus the points.
Oh,
So I had that and I had the over in the other games. I was way off on Monday. Pretty locked in on Thursday and Sunday. I think I only missed one Thursday, Sunday, and then yeah, Monday just wasn't my night. It happens.
yeah. Well, I mean, you've been hot lately, so
Yep. Let's do it, fellas. Let's talk about this week, man. Let's cook it up. We got Thursday night football. We have the Denver Broncos out on the road facing the Los Angeles Chargers. 3-point line. Chargers laying three, total 42 and a half. Tightly contested game here. Both teams, playoffs are likely, but if things don't break the right way, they could both still be at home. So huge game for both of them. Al, how you feeling here?
yeah, I like the under in this game. This has been one of the craziest stats, and it just keeps winning and winning and winning, and you just keep thinking it's going to change, and it doesn't. The Chargers' home division games are now 88 and 36 under the total, including a perfect 5-0 under the past two seasons. I think I've used all five of those plays here on this podcast. It's just crazy. They just always go under. 10 of the last 11 meetings between these two teams played in California have gone under the total, and I just look for another low scoring game.
Fair enough. I could definitely see it. Sean, how you feeling here?
Yeah, I like the under a bit as well. I was on the under in the first matchup between these two teams, and it just barely got over. It got to 39 points. So I think the closing total on that one was 37. We're looking at about a 42 for this game. I think it's adjusted a little too high. It's very similar to last week. I had the under in that Thursday nighter last week with the Rams and the Niners division game. Short week, late in the season. Broncos offense was definitely over. I don't know if we can say overachieved this late in the season, but they've done better than expected. Bo Nix has been better than advertised for sure. I do think the Chargers defense is a good matchup here for the Broncos offense. I'd like to be on the Chargers in this spot because we've got the Broncos coming off what five straight ATS wins, four in a row straight up. I'd love to fade the Broncos in this spot, but I don't know about that Chargers offense. Justin Herbert's been dealing with a number of injuries. He looked like he aggravated the injuries on Sunday in that blowout loss to the Bucks. So I just don't know yet if I can get behind the Chargers in this one, but that would be my lean on the side as well.
I'm on the Chargers in this one. I think the Broncos miss the playoffs. I think they lose out personally, and I think the Bengals are going to make it. That's just my thoughts. We'll see. They got lucky last week. I'm just going to say it. Jonathan Taylor don't drop that ball at the goal line. That's a completely different football game. The Colts take a two-score lead. And then the Broncos playing from behind, something they really haven't done too much this season. I think that was really the turning point in that football game. The Broncos did go on to dominate the game from that point forward, but I could imagine that's like a gun punch. You don't expect anything like that in the NFL. So it was what it was, be what it be. I think the Chargers, though, take the Chargers is where I want to be in this one. I wish it was 2.5. at the full 3. We're probably heading for a push. Wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers walk them off as time expires style game. Um, I'm not a Chargers lay points with this style team guy. Usually you're asking for it in this style situation with the Chargers. But that's where I'll lean in this one, and I'll also lean towards an under. This might be a one game where I'll just try to attack the money line with the Chargers and just pay up for it. I hate doing that as well. It's just one of those style games for me. So Chargers under. That's what I like here this Thursday night. Let's keep it rolling. We had 2 Saturday football. What the hell going on? We got Saturday NFL football, man. Competing with the college football playoff. Saturday, I've heard many people say, could be one of the greatest days of all time when it comes to football. With the magnitude of some of these football games, it doesn't get much bigger than what's going on in the college football landscape, and then in the NFL. These are 2 meaningful games for these 2 teams, 2 winning football teams, 4 teams, that will all be in the postseason. So, it should be interesting. Let's talk about the first one. We got the Houston Texans out on the road facing the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City laying 3, total 41.5. Sean, how you feeling?
Yeah, it looked on Sunday like Patrick Mahomes was going to be done for the season, or what, the way he reacted to the injury there. But now it sounds like he's been a full participant in practice for the last 2 days. So I think we can expect to see him on the field on Saturday. This total's dropped a little bit. You've got the Chiefs coming off 3 straight unders, Texans off back-to-back unders. I'm tempted to play the over in this game in the low 40s. We'll see where it settles out, but yeah, that Texans offense hasn't been as good as we thought it was going to be this season, especially the passing game. It just hasn't been as dominant. But I think there's still time to see them kind of get it going here before the playoffs. Last Sunday's game against Miami, that was my one loss on Sunday. Was I had the over in that game against Miami, and it just never really approached the total in that one. But I think this spot, I think we see the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs offense can match up against this Texans defense a little bit. I'm not overly concerned with the Mahomes injury. I'll lean with the over in this game.
I'm going to take the Texans plus the 3 and outright money line. Believe it or not, I'm a big Chiefs guy. I got the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. I think they're going to be the first team ever to three-peat. But I think this is a loss they could lose. I think this is it's just a spot play, and I think the Texans, this is going to be a kind of game that propels them forward. This may be a game we see later on in the playoffs again. I like this Texans team. I know that this season they haven't been dominant ATS. They haven't been, it hasn't been pretty in a lot of their games, but they're here, 9-5, leader of their division. It's the NFL. Sometimes that's how it looks. It's not a pretty league, and I think good teams sometimes take ugly losses. And I think this is going to be one for the Chiefs at home Saturday. It's going to be a parlay buster. I think a lot of people are going to have the Chiefs on their money line, on their parlay, loving it. And the Texans going to shock some folk. Texans are a solid team offensively. They do leave a couple things to be desired, but I do think they do enough in this one. I think the Chiefs' offense with Mahomes in there probably sputters a bit. I don't know. I'm leaning towards an under, and I'm leaning towards Texans outright money line and plus the points here in this one. How you feeling?
I mean, I think what's interesting, at least on a granular level, the line was 2.5 and 41.5, and you've seen some money show on Kansas City to move it up to 3 across the board right now, which might indicate people are expecting a greater probability that Mahomes plays, but yet the over/under hasn't moved, which I find a little bit interesting. I should say hasn't moved yet, anyway. The over/under opened in the 44 range, right? And it's down to 41.5, reflecting, Mahomes not, maybe not being on the field, but yet one would have thought that if it moved back up to 3, then maybe the over/under would have moved up a little bit as well, but it hasn't. Anyway, just food for thought. I like the over in the game. And I guess the best number is at Pinnacle of 41, but it's 41.5 everywhere else. And Yeah, I would prefer that Mahomes plays to give the over a better chance. But yeah, I mean, Houston comes into this game off back-to-back unders, and Houston's 40-24 over the total following two or more unders. And also the last five meetings between these two teams have gone over the total. I just think this is the number's too low. I just like the over.
Fair enough. We head to the other one, 3:30 start time. Man, classic. Classic, classic, classic. Battle in the AFC. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers out on the road facing the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens land 6.5 total. 45.5. Man, y'all, I followed a simple formula all season long when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens, and I'm just not switching it. When they play outside of division, when they play NFC teams, I'm rolling with the Ravens. I had them last week, laying 17 on the road, but they were playing an NFC opponent, and they dominate those teams. This week, at home, they are the better team, in my opinion, but I'm going to take Pittsburgh Steelers, man. Steelers love playing these boys tough. Ravens love struggling against in-division opponents. Ravens might win the game, but land 6.5, I think, is too many. I know the Steelers didn't look all that great last week in Philly, but I tried to tell y'all the Steelers ain't never looked good in Philly ever historically, so it wasn't shocking. So the Steelers always look good historically against the Ravens. This is a battle, man. It's not, and I think it's going to continue to be. Probably come right down to it. And I think the Steelers plus 230 money line. I can't talk nobody off of that. I really can't. I think they're live in the game. So I feel much better with the points in my back pocket though with Pittsburgh. And Baltimore's just going to have to show me that they can cover ATS against in-division opponents on a consistent basis. Now.
I was on mute. Sorry. This is a tough game. I'm not sold on the Steelers. I've never been sold on the Steelers.
Fair.
For most of the season, I was wrong. I think I'll end up being proved right, though. I'm going to lay the points with the Ravens. The Ravens are 19-1 ATS at home off a win by more than 15 points if their opponent was off a straight-up loss. And yeah, I just think this game's going to be a lot different than the one played earlier in Pittsburgh, and I look for a blowout by Baltimore.
Fair enough. The Steelers, I think, at the beginning of the season were really underrated. Then they started to become overrated. And right now, I think they're going to settle into where they are, which is probably like that sixth playoff team, in my opinion. That fifth, sixth playoff team in the AFC. They're not nearly as good as the top tier, which I think the Baltimore Ravens are, which is why they are sizable favorites in this game. But with it being a division game, that's what makes it tough for me. Sean?
Yeah, I went against the Steelers last Sunday in that game in Philadelphia, and um, there were a couple stretches in the first half where you thought maybe Steelers were going to hang in there, but that second half was just dominance by the Eagles' offensive line. I think that was the big difference maker in that game. Jalen Hurts was able to just throw all over them because he had so much time in the pocket. Um, as I was watching that game, I was thinking that the Steelers would probably be a play for me here this week in Baltimore, but I really hated that TJ Watt injury. That's a tough one. That's kind of a game changer for that Steelers defense. Um, I'm still leaning Steelers way here, plus the points. Like you said, Jay, the Ravens, not all that trustworthy. Three covers in their last seven games. I don't know. It feels like a game that could easily come down to a field goal. I feel like if we can see that Steelers offense kind of shake off last week's, sort of ugly performance, but it wasn't. They didn't even have the ball that much. I mean, in the second half, Philly just dominated possession. It was kind of game over. So we'll see if Mike Tomlin can get his team here to just clean slate heading into this game. I think they can hang for the full 60 minutes in this one.
Fair enough. That's on to Sunday, fellas. We got the Los Angeles Rams laying 3 points on the road on the Jets. Jets. Al? Got one last week, huh? You riding them again? You on the Jets, or are you finally
Well,
calling?
I never gave it to it wasn't a premium play, so it was
Yeah, you gave them here on the show.
doesn't yeah, but that doesn't count.
That does count. That's what we're here to do. That's what, so it counts.
Oh boy. Yeah, I mean it's this is not going to be a play on the Jets for me. This is a play against the Rams, and there's a difference.
There is a difference. I'll agree.
Yeah, so the Rams off back-to-back upset wins against Detroit and San Francisco. Now they're a road favorite. Uh, after being an underdog, those two other games. So I don't like laying points on the road with teams off back-to-back upset wins, and especially not if they're favored by more than two against a non-division foe. Those teams have covered just 6 of 30. So I'll take the Jets, but again, this is more of a play against the Rams. If they just happen to be playing the Jets.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Sean?
Yeah. I feel the Rams are going to be a popular play here this week. Off 3 straight wins, straight up against the spread. There's still not a lot of Jets believers after that, even after that win last week. But I talked about it last week on the show, but how that Jets offense looks quite a bit different here down the stretch. We've seen Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams have a bit of a connection now, looking a little bit more like their Green Bay days. So that gives them a shot. Um, and the Rams traveling, across the country. They've had a couple extra days to prepare off that win in San Fran last Thursday. Um, I don't really believe in like trap games or anything like that, but I just feel like this is a spot where I just feel like you want to be on the home dog instead of the road favorite, much like Al said.
I'm on the. I can't even say it. I'm on the Jets, man.
I never thought I'd hear that word, exit your mouth.
I know, Al. I know. I've been fading them all year. I haven't taken the Jets not one time. But if there was a spot, it's the spot. And I love spots and situations. And I think Sean kind of hinted at it a bit too. It's the sandwich division game spot for the Rams. Coming off of playing the Niners, they got the Cardinals on deck. The Rams control their own destiny, and I don't trust that team. I don't trust this team in that style spot. And that underdog role, spoiling other people's things going on, that's where I trust the Rams. But in this one, I just think it's spoiled. I also like the over. Coming off that really low-scoring game last week, I think this one's going to be an absolute track meet. It's going to be some of the best quarterback, receiver things you've seen this season. I think Stafford absolutely lights it up. Like Sean said, I think Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers finally, what week we in? 16? Finally unlock something. Devontae Adams finally looked like the former number one, receiver in the league that he once was. So I think it's going to be a high-scoring, really fun back-and-forth game. Puka Nacua gets his. I think Cooper Kupp gets his. I think this is a game where everybody gets theirs. I like over everything in this game. I think it's going to be an absolute track meet. Defense is going to be an afterthought. And I think the Jets got a chance to pull it out. But getting points in my back pocket with the home dog finally got some good mojo going. And the sandwich spot for the Rams, it just seemed like a really good spot for me to take the Jets. So just a play on the spot and situation. Come on, Jets. Don't let me down, man. I've been bashing you all year. I'm going to rock with you one time for the one time. Let me see if they can do it. Let's keep it rolling, though, fellas. We head over to Washington. Division battle where the Eagles are laying 3.5 points on the road. Another interesting home dog here. Sean, how you feeling?
Yeah, this is one of the tougher games, I think, on the board for me here this week. I think Eagles are going to be a pretty popular play off of that win over Pittsburgh last week, much like the Rams laying points on the road here. Yeah, Commanders, last week in that game against New Orleans, they had it well in control. What were they up 17-0 in the second half? And then they just kind of stopped playing a little bit. They faced a little bit of adversity and then nearly actually coughed up the game on that late 2-point conversion. That would have been it for them at the end of the game. So, they're coming off a bit of a hard fought game there, come back home, host the Eagles. It's that same situation that we've talked about the last couple of weeks. You've got the Eagles coming off 10 straight wins. Um, I prefer to fade teams that are in a situation like that have won so many games in a row. And as I said, coming off that win over the Steelers at home last week, I think there's a chance we see a bit of a letdown here from the Eagles. I'd be inclined to maybe grab those points with the Commanders at home.
This is probably one of my least favorite games this week. The Eagles are my favorite in the NFC. I've been saying that for a couple weeks now, and I think with how banged up Detroit now is defensively, I think they've kind of taken a step back. The first person on that Eagles bandwagon was the guy right here to my right, though, Big Al McMorty, and then I kind of just jumped on after he did. But I thought they were playing well, even despite some of the dysfunction that a lot of teams may not function with. But that's Philly as a whole. So you just got to know that city to know that. The thing about this game is I don't really want to fade Philadelphia, but it's kind of a spot and situation play for me. Get 3 and a hook, late season division game on the road. Eagles as hot as they are. The Commanders going to be up for this one, or at least they should be. Commanders, I know they've played the Saints and the Titans. Not two great opponents in the last 2 weeks. And how they finished that game last week was disgusting. The Saints almost walked them off with Spencer Rattler and a bunch of no names because Kamara was hurt. I was watching now. That was a crazy finish. I was praying for Saints money line right there. I was like, okay, Saints. So it was a crazy finish, but just to play on the spot, getting 3 and a hook. This game is probably going to be 3 come Sunday. I ain't gonna lie, it might be 3 come Sunday. I just don't imagine it being 3 and a hook, but people do love them Eagles, so interesting game. I'm on the 3 and a hook with Commanders at home. Not a game I'm in love with by any stretch of the imagination, though. Al?
Yeah, I like the home dog. This is the Eagles' final road game of the season, so they're going to follow this up with back-to-back home games. And teams that are playing their last road game with a couple home games on deck, they don't do very well. They've covered just 73 of 170. And then also the Commanders, we know how bad they are as a favorite. But as underdogs, when the Commanders are off a win, if their opponent's off a Suets win, Washington's gone 47-27 ATS. So I'll grab the points with Washington.
Turn me up, Commanders. First sweep of the day. Let's keep it rolling. We head over to Atlanta, where the Falcons are 8.5-point home favorites over the G-Men. They made the switch. It will be Michael Penix Jr. It will not be Kirk Cousins under center in this one. I've been hinting. I thought that would happen. I had the Raiders this past week. I think I pushed. I believe 6. I think was my number. So I think I got to push. This is another tough game. I would lean towards the Giants, in this football game. I don't bet the Giants often, very rarely, and I really don't plan on doing so here. But laying 8.5 with the Falcons, with a rookie making his first start, just doesn't seem that logical. Now, I will say, I feel like all the rookies this season that started covered in their first game, I think, or maybe not. I got to go back and look. I should have had that number here. I know Caleb Williams did, luckily. Bo Nix. I got to go back and look and see if he did. But anyways, laying 8.5 here. The Giants do suck. I'm not trying to tell you any other dream. The Giants are terrible, but 27-20, something like that wouldn't shock me here in this football game. Small lean on the G-Men. I'm just not really interested in laying this many points with Atlanta. Even if Kirk was playing, I wouldn't be interested in laying this many points with Atlanta. So Atlanta's just not a lay point style team, in my opinion, more often than not. I'm going to take the Giants. Al?
Yeah, I mean, this game falls into that angle that I've talked about often here. You don't want to lay 7 or more points with teams with negative scoring margins. Atlanta's been outscored this season by 3.5 points per game. Teams with negative scoring margins that are favored by 7 or more have gone 240 and 320 ATS going back to 1980. Now, that's just a general rule, but sometimes rules are meant to be broken. And I can't take the Giants. I'm gonna play Atlanta minus the points.
Oh, okay. The Giants are terrible. I get it. I get it. I get it.
Yeah, this is for people who always will say like, I'm very rule bound. Well, not always. So,
It wouldn't shock me if this was like if Penix came here had a monster game and everybody's like, "Oh my God, Atlanta has found their franchise quarterback." I'm like, it wouldn't. It wouldn't shock me. I could see it being probably a steamroll in that manner, but still, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Sean, what do you know? Do you know anything about this game?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I like the total in this game. I think it's. I just think it's too low. I think this is a shootout potential type game where people don't expect it. Atlanta, that game on Monday night in Las Vegas was so bad. I mean, 24 total points. They were lucky they even got to 24 in that game. It was. I just think we see a little bit different Atlanta offense here. Kirk Cousins was certainly, kind of. I don't know if I want to say holding the offense back because they're not a super talented offense to begin with, but I can't. I don't think they can be any less explosive here with Penix in there. So I like Atlanta to do what they want here against the New York defense. And then on the flip side, Giants are back to Drew Lock again this week. I believe the last time we saw him start, or did he start that New Orleans game? Maybe he did. He started in Dallas on Thanksgiving. That was a game they scored 20 points, which is a pretty big accomplishment for New York. They've only done it twice since since the second week of October. So I think this total is too low. It's at 42 right now. Um, I like it under 43. I like playing the over at anything better than 43 here in this game.
Fair enough. Let's keep it rolling. We head over to Carolina, where the Cardinals are laying 5 points on the Panthers. Yeah, the Panthers favored last week. Shit didn't even make sense. It didn't even make sense. They're back to dogs, though. This is the kind of situation they, are better in. I lost the order here. Al,
yeah, I mean,
you think?
now they're back to now they're back to a situation where you want to take them. What are they now? 0-9 ATS or last nine as favorites.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll take them as a home dog. Late in the year, when you get a non-division home dog off blowout losses by more than 15 points, they've done really well. They've gone 101 and 71 ATS, and that 30-14 loss to Dallas, that'll keep a lot of people off Carolina here, but I'll take them.
Sean?
Yeah, I looked at this game for a while, just trying to come up with any sort of angle, and really couldn't. All I can really think, it feels like another field goal type game. I guess that would put me on the side of Carolina here, catching more than a field goal. Other than that, yeah, that's it. You've got Arizona coming off back-to-back overs. Carolina had an over last week, so my first thought would be to look at the under, but nothing stands out to me with that either. So my only lean here would be on Carolina plus the points as a home dog.
I've bet Arizona every game this year. I'm going to continue to do it. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. The Panthers are ass. They had a little stretch there playing well. It's over. They're back to the Panthers. I think they're probably going to be a popular play this week, and Arizona comes in and smashes them. Arizona has no room for error. They can still make the playoffs. They need a lot of things to bounce their way. They need a lot of help, but it ain't over. It ain't over till the fat lady say it's over. So I think Arizona comes in here and handles business and shows there's a definite gap between a team like Carolina and them. So, or maybe I'm just seeing it through some biased Cardinals glasses that I've been seeing it through all season. We'll see. But I'm going to just call a spade a spade. I've been betting them all year. No reason for me to hop off now for the Panthers. Let's keep it rolling. We head over to Cincinnati, where the Bengals are laying 7.5 points on the Cleveland Browns. Sean, How you feeling?
Yeah, that Bengals game was kind of a wild one there last week. That was I had the over in that game, and that was another game where we saw a player running into the end zone and dropping it at the 1 yard line on that potential pick six from the Bengals. So at the time, it was a little worrisome for the over actually because the scoring had slowed down considerably. But anyway, it got there. Uh, this game kind of feels to me a lot like that Commanders Saints game last week, where I feel Bengals are going to win this game, but I feel like they're laying too many points. I think they're at -8. -8 is the last I saw here.
Yeah, I see eight
Um,
F.
so we've got the Browns. I saw the Browns announce they're going with Dorian Thompson-Robinson at quarterback in place of Jameis Winston. So that kind of changes the dynamic a little bit. But this is just one of those games where I think you take the dog and just you know hope for whatever them to get in the back door and the front door, whatever way possible. Much like the Saints last week at home against the Commanders, I'll grab the points.
Terrible game from a betting perspective, in my opinion. If it was Jameis, I would have took the Browns. I would have felt really good about taking the Browns if it was Jameis. DTR in there. DTR I can't fade Joe Shiesty, my new MVP of the league, man. He just doing too much, bro. That Cincinnati defense is so bad. Like, I don't think people truly understand how bad the Cincinnati defense is and how good Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow and this offense has been to uplift that other side of the ball. So it's like, if there was a spot where DTR was going to move the football, it should be in this game. But in that same breath, if Cincinnati is going to make a stop, a stand, it should be this game as well. So it's kind of like a line in the sand style game for the Bengals, and I think they prevail. I got the Broncos losing out. I got Cincinnati winning out. Cincinnati making the playoffs and probably setting up that 2-7 matchup with Buffalo. That's how I see it panning out. We'll see if I'm right. I've been saying it for a couple weeks. I still think them Bengals can get in. They need some help. Need a little bit of help, but we'll see if they can do their end. I think they beat up on the Browns in this one. I hate laying this many points in a division battle, especially this division. Again, if it was Jameis, I would have been on the Browns. But it's DTR. I got to go the other way with Joe Burrow, Joe Shiesty, and the Bengals. Al?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the Cleveland Browns season schedule, and they've really only played one great game all year, and that was at home versus Baltimore, where they put up inexplicably 29 points. I mean, the other games, they've covered 3 other games this year, but, once was on the road against Jacksonville. They'd win, 19-13 or 18-13, who cares? They luckily covered against Philadelphia when I think they blocked a field goal and ran it back for a touchdown. I don't think they got an offensive score in that game or something like that, right? So they lose that game 20-16, but they should have got blown out. And then they win. Then the other game they, did okay in was the one in the snow against the Steelers on that Thursday night. But, the Browns, Cincinnati's defense is really, 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 really bad. But, they only got 14 points against this really, really, really bad defense the first time they met.
Sure.
Still, I can't take Cincinnati. I'm going to take Cleveland. It's just, it's
Al set me up and ripped me out.
No, you're right. They got a really, really, really bad defense. They're giving up 27.64 points per game, and home teams with defenses that give up more than 26.22, they've gone 75 and 119 ATS if they were off back-to-back ATS wins. This is really, I want to go against Cincinnati off of their recent success.
It's a lot of lumber to lay with this bad of defense. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
But I'm also making the point that Cleveland is as bad as it gets.
They're a bad team too.
Either some of their ATS wins were so lucky. They could easily be 2-12 ATS this year.
Sean, how you feeling here, my man?
I already gave my opinion. Browns.
It did. You were first.
And as Al's reading those those wins the Browns have had. I'm starting to think that I've played the Browns almost every week this season because I had them against this. I know I had them against the Steelers. I had them in that game against the Eagles. I believe that was in Philadelphia early in the season, um, and that was back when the Eagles were really having a tough time moving the ball. It was just ugly game. So, yeah, I know what Al's saying about the Browns being awful, but like I said, I just think this is too many points.
Fair. Keep it rolling. We're in Indianapolis, where the Colts are laying 3.5 points on the Tennessee Titans. Total 42.5. That Colts, that fucking coach. I just knew we weren't gonna win. It was gonna be the worst beat I ever had. I actually have the audio for that clip. I'll probably play it on Sunday's show. The OGs know what I'm talking about. But man, that damn Colts for real, bro. Cause I had them, man. I had a money line. I thought it was a good spot for them, and it was looking good. They were looking good, and then Jonathan Taylor drops the ball. It just didn't make sense. It just was one of those things. And the Broncos took full advantage and ran away with it. One thing I have been doing this season, I just love fading bad teams, and I think the Titans fit that mold perfectly. The Titans are so bad. The Titans, and they're like one of the things I like doing is just pointing out sharp chaser plays. And the Titans, week in and week out, have been a sharp chaser play. Um, and it'd be the reasoning behind backing the Titans that I can't get behind. Every week, it's some new excuse on why they're going to look much better than what the numbers say, what the ATS numbers say, what our eyes say. This is a team that's just terrible at every facet of the game. They have a quarterback who was never good in college, who will never be good in the league. A new coaching regime in there that doesn't know what they're doing. I'm fading the Titans, man. That's ultimately all I'm saying. So, as much as that Colts pissed me off last week, as much as laying 3.5 with them makes my stomach hurt, I feel like it's the right play. I'm gonna lay it with Indy here. Al?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this game really, but we have to pick a side. So I'm going to take Tennessee primarily because of revenge. They were favored in the first meeting by 2.5 points. They lost 20-17. Road underdogs are 200 and 158 ATS when playing with revenge from an upset loss in the season's first meeting. So give a shaky nod to the Titans.
Isn't this the series where it's like always take the dog? I forget. There's one of them in this division where it's like just take.
I feel like it's all this division. It's just
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. You're right. What you thinking here, Sean?
Yeah, I think this week's going to be different. I think the Titans. I think this is their week. Um, uh, Will Levis is out. They're going to go with Mason Rudolph at quarterback. As Al mentioned, the revenge angle. I feel that it matters a little bit in these division games. What else do these teams have to play for at this point? You're right. The Titans have been awful. Colts have been pretty awful too. And on the show last week, I agreed with you, Jay, on the on that Colts pick. And yeah, that was a different game. If Jonathan Taylor takes that in, it's 20-6, I believe, at that point, and they're rolling in the second half. I mean, I think the game would have been a lot different, but then you can also say this Colts team just kind of finds ways to lose.
True. That
Another bad team. So I'm just not interested in laying points with the Colts really in any situation. So probably not a play I'm going to have on the premium list, but give me the Titans here on the show plus the points.
So looking at AFC South division games, long term, it's basically 50-50. But the underdog has now gone 8-0-1 ATS the last 8 AFC South division games.
Okay, so see, my brain does serve me a little well. I feel like the dogs recently in this division been cash.
Yeah.
It wouldn't
only eight in a row.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me. And to be fair, I thought it was still Will Levis under center. As you, Sean, you said it's Rudolph.
Yeah, it's Rudolph this week. So
Mm.
I feel like the play. I mean, probably a little
Rudolph,
less.
Rudolph is just as terrible.
Oh, he's horrible too. But I think you have a little less volatility. I think you can
Fair.
Not as many extreme outcomes as you will see with Levis with the ridiculous turnovers and whatnot.
I 100% do agree with that point there. A bottom of the barrel game for me. Laying 3.5 with Indy is terrible. It doesn't. You know what? Y'all talk me off. Give me Tennessee. I'll flip. Give me Tennessee. We're getting 3 in the hook. 8-0-1. It's hard to go against, man. It's hard to go against. Give me the Titans. Damn it. We keep it rolling. We got the Chicago Bears. Bear down. Chicago Bears getting 6.5 points with the Detroit Lions rolling in. The beat up Detroit Lions coming off an L. Does Dan Campbell muster up something here to keep them rolling? Al? Or is this a ugly spot where we hold our nose and take a bad Bears team?
I'm going to take the Bears. Chicago's 12-3 ATS as a home dog of 6 or more points if they didn't cover the spread in either of their 2 previous games. I think this is a pretty easy call to take the Bears plus the points, actually. I like Chicago.
Huh?
Yeah, same. I think this is easy selection for me. You got the Bears coming off 8 straight losses. Bears have looked really bad the last couple of weeks, but I mean that was a tough 3-game road trip to Detroit, to San Francisco, and to Minnesota. When we last saw them play at home, they were almost upsetting the Packers and Vikings in consecutive weeks. So I think the knee-jerk reaction was to look at Chicago off that pretty ugly performance on Monday in Minnesota and just fade them again here. But Lions, I mean, the injury list is getting a little ridiculous, and we've just been talking every week about looking to fade the Lions, and it's been working out. They've lost the cash in 3 straight games now. Once again, they're laying close to a touchdown here. I don't see any reason not to grab the points with the home underdog here.
I'm on bear down Chicago Bears as well. The last cash me and Mitch had together was the Bears and the Lions on Thanksgiving Day. I think we go out together again with the Chicago Bears. The Lions are just banged up right now, man. It's I just don't want to be laying points with them on the road. Like if Chicago were to get up for a game, it would be this one. That day was I don't really remember how that game ended, but I think I remember it ended in crazy fashion, didn't it?
Yeah. The Bears were driving for the game-winning field goal, I believe, and then that was the one with the poor clock management that it really ended up.
Okay, so yeah, that is what it was.
Yeah.
So yeah. That is what it was. The poor clock management at the end. Thank you for reminding me. They probably get some get back revenge here. From an ATS perspective, I guess. I just don't want to be laying points with the banged up Lions team. And I don't think the Bears win the game. The Lions probably escape with the win. But laying this many points, I can't do. So, bear down, Chicago Bears. Let's keep it rolling. We got the Seattle Seahawks getting 3 at home with the Minnesota Vikings rolling in total 43.5. Sean, what you thinking here?
Yeah, I've been looking to fade the Vikings recently, but I got to admit here they're playing pretty well at the moment, and Seattle's not really a team that I'm interested in getting behind. Last Sunday night was you know, well, I think we talked about it here on the show last week that the Packers were in a much better spot there in that game, and the Packers came out and just dominated it. I don't really, I don't have a great read on either side in this game, really, to be honest. So I'll look at the total. I think it's dropped down to 42.5 now. I'd probably look to go over that total. I like the over a little bit in that Monday game for Minnesota against Chicago. Didn't end up playing it. Bears obviously didn't do enough to keep that one to push that one over the total. But I think in this spot, I do think we see the Seattle offense bounce back a little bit. That was a really bad performance last Sunday night. I think they do come to play here. I'll lean to the over.
Both of these teams are on my fade list. That's the thing. I don't like the spot for Seattle. I've been wanting to fade them at home all year. They've been better on the road this season than they have at home. The Geno Smith questionable news makes this game really interesting if it's Sam Howell or Geno. The Vikings, they just so high. I want to fade them too, and especially coming off 3 straight home games. Now going into an environment like Seattle, loud venue, young quarterback, overachieving team. Give me Seattle plus the 3 is where ultimately I want to be. I'm hoping it's Geno. I know if it's Geno, it's probably gonna be like 2.5, 2, maybe even close to a pick 'em. I already know that. So if you like Seattle, kind of like I do right now, and you think there's a chance Geno might play, and if you just even if you know Geno ain't playing, when you got semi hope in the backup, then we just take Seattle here at the full 3 because we're getting a full 3 right now, and I highly doubt if the news breaks our way, it'll be there come Sunday. So give me the Seahawks in this one, Al.
Yeah, do we know, did Gino practice today or did he not practice? Or is it too early to know?
No news on practice today, but it looks like he's scheduled to practice. So
Okay.
Yeah, I'm seeing
Yeah.
that he will participate in Wednesday's practice, but it's yeah,
right.
I don't know if he was
So that's
obviously
that. I mean,
limited.
yeah, that's a good sign. That's just the fact that he's going to
Right.
practice today.
Right.
So yeah, fingers crossed that he plays. If he does play, then I do like them. It's Seattle's last home game of the season, and winning teams they've cashed 60% over the last 45 years in their last home games if they were installed as an underdog or pick and they were off a straight up loss. So I'll take Seattle.
Fair enough. Let's keep it rolling. We have the Buffalo Bills laying 14 points on the New England Patriots. Total 46.5 in this one. Give me the Patriots getting 14. I know. I'm probably asking for it. Bills might be up 14 at the end of the first quarter, and I look like an idiot. I know. Trust me, I get it. But in that same breath, 14 is a lot to lay with the team coming off a win like that last week. I liked him. I had him. Shout out to him. You know, I've changed my stance on Josh Allen. He is him. This season has really opened my eyes to how good of a player he is. I don't want to lay 14 though. So give me the Patriots. Come on, Pats. Come in here, game, and let's battle. That's all I ask for is a battle. Don't make it easy. And give me the 14. Al?
Yeah, I'm going to look at the under after Buffalo just played those two high scoring games. They gave up 44 to Los Angeles. They gave up 42 to Detroit. But teams have gone 157 and 116 under the total when the over under was priced from 42.5 to 56 points if they gave up more than 33 in each of their two previous games. So, yeah, give me the under 46.5.
Yeah, with this total here, I think what is this up to now? 46 from opened at 44 and a half, I believe. So I think if it wasn't for those last couple of games from the Bills, I think we'd be looking at a much lower posted total here. So I'm also liking the under in this game, just kind of a contrarian angle with the Patriots coming off 4 straight overs. Bills have seen the overcash in 5 of their last 6. But I also like the Patriots a little bit here, plus the points. I mean, those are a couple taxing games on the Bills the last 2 weeks. That game in LA, uh, and then followed up by that game in Detroit last week, where it looked like they were kind of running away with it, but then Detroit got back in the game a little bit. So they come back home. They don't need to win by any margin here. They're just looking to get the win. It's been just a kind of a crazy scheduling stretch for the Bills. You had the Chiefs, Niners, Rams, Lions. Then you look at the Patriots, who they've faced recently. I mean, the last few weeks, they were in Arizona last week and barely put up a fight at all. If there's a spot for these guys to show up and at least play with some energy, you got to hope it's here this week against a division rival, and then they'll wrap up the season at home against the Bills in 2 weeks. So, uh, yeah, I don't mind the Patriots plus the points here and also the under.
There we go. There we go. We head to Las Vegas where the Raiders favored. I mean, were they gonna make Jags road favorites? They were gonna be wrong either way in this one. The Raiders laying one in this one. A 3-11 team and a 2-12 team. Total 40.5. Al, pick between two evils. Which way you going?
I've got the stat of the day
Yep, mirror.
in this game. Oh boy, let's try to. Yeah, so this is I think the stat of the day. The Raiders are now 12-1-1 ATS. Their last 14 at home when the point spread was 3 points or less. So like a win situation game, which to me is crazy because the Raiders haven't been doing a lot of winning anywhere. But yeah, in games with those tight point
It's like
spreads
they
between.
either play good teams and get beat up at home, or they play bad teams and they should win. So I mean,
Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna take the Raiders since this is basically a pick 'em game, and they're at home. And also, I mean, Jacksonville, they had lost 9 straight road games before last week's upset win at Tennessee. So, Jacksonville's no bargain on the road themselves.
Sean.
Yeah, I really don't like this game. This is not going to be a game that I'm going to be picking on Sunday. Even that win in Tennessee for Jacksonville, I mean, they had to rally late to get to that win. Um, barely in a game where they held the Titans to 6 points. Looking at the total here, I'm kind of wondering how low this total can go. We're into the 30s now in a Raiders game, coming off 3 straight under games. I do think they, find the going a little easier this week against this Jags defense, which, other than that game against Tennessee, really hasn't been good. This, I don't know. I think Al had a stat last week about, or maybe that was 2 weeks ago, about bad teams and how they go under the total when they match up late in the season. But I think this could be maybe a sneaky high scoring game indoors here in Las Vegas. So we'll take a look at the over in this game.
Hey, I'm on the Raiders. I really love that stat Al gave, and B, do y'all remember last time we saw Mac Jones in Las Vegas? I do.
I don't. Oh, was that the game? Oh, that's the game where
Was
he
that the
took the
walk off?
safety?
Yeah.
That was the game when he was with
Oh,
the
fuck
Patriots.
yeah. I had so much money on New England in that game.
I did
Jesus
too.
Christ.
I did too. So no, Mac Jones in Las Vegas, I'm fading his ass. Ultimately,
That, that was one of the worst losses of my life.
hey man, yeah, that loss was crazy. It really, just the overall play call. You don't see that from the Patriots very often. So, whew. Yeah, I'm on the Raiders in this one. I was on them last week against who was that? The Falcons. Push. I think I got us like 6. I think I talked about it earlier in the show. Um, so I didn't lose with them. I think this is who they got next week. Who they got on deck? They got the Chargers, the Chargers. This their last one of the season. This their play for the coach win right here. This I think we'll see. I think Pierce will be back next season. I think the Raiders are drafting Shador, and I think they'll be fine. That's kind of how I think things shaped out. We'll see. I'm on the Raiders. Let's keep it rolling. We have the 49ers out on the road facing the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins 1.5 point home favorites. Total 44.5. Sean, how you feeling?
Yeah, another game where I don't like betting on either of these teams right now, to be honest. The Niners have the extra advantage of having the extended week here to prepare for this game, whereas we've got the Dolphins coming back from Houston off that loss, kind of a back-breaking loss there last Sunday against the Texans in a game where they stuck around a little bit, but just didn't show a ton of fight. It just seems like this Miami offense right now just kind of looks like a mess. So I'm not interested in what is this? Has this line shifted? Miami is the short favorite here now. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah.
-1.5. Yeah, I'd have to lean with the Niners, but again, this is another game. This 4 o'clock slate on Sundays is tough. So lean to the Niners in this one plus the points.
I'm on the Dolphins, believe it or not. Um, it just falls into a situation for me. The Dolphins are not that hard of a team to figure out. Play teams above 500, they lose. They play teams below 500, they win. Um, I think they went out, saved their coach's job, which is going to be the worst thing ever for this franchise. You know, they're going to go 9-8. They're going to save his job. They're going to say it was because Tua was injured. That's what derailed our season. We're going to run it back, and we'll see if we can, shake it up. But this is just who the Dolphins are. It doesn't matter. It's just who they are. Yeah, I think they win the game. I think the Niners, the grand scheme, the grand landscape of things is this was just a down year. I don't think they fire their coach. I don't think they do nothing crazy. I think they get a decent draft pick. I think they'll be back right there in a division that's always tough, and they'll probably be the leader of it next season. I just think this was a one down year for the Niners. It happens sometimes. It's the National Football League, not for long, but they'll be back. I'm on the Dolphins here in this one. They play good against teams above. They play terrible against teams above 500 and really well against teams below. That's what I like here. The stat was last week. Mike McDaniel against teams above 500 was 3-14 for the Dolphins in his career. So just imagine, and they have some wins. So imagine what it is on the flip side. So that's just a little stat. Al?
Yeah, I can't get behind San Francisco on the road. They've covered just one road game all season long, and that was at Seattle, a division rival, when the Seahawks at the time were one game ahead of the 49ers in the standings. I'll take Miami.
Sunday Night Football. I've been waiting all day for Sunday night. We got my favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys. Getting 4 points with the Tampa Bay Bucks rolling in. Total 48.5. I'm up here. Interestingly enough, Tampa is one of my teams I do like betting on. Tampa, I think, is the better football team in this game by a pretty decent margin. I'm taking Dallas, though. I got to. Welcome to the show, Sean.
Yeah.
Reoccurring theme. I thought about it. I gave it real thought. But ultimately, I got to stick with my boys, man. It ain't over. And we usually have one that we win that we ain't got no business winning. And I think, is that one. We kind of have beaten Tampa recently. We kind of got Tampa's number. We got them with Brady. We did when they retired Brady. I think y'all forgot. Tampa's last loss with Brady was who? Adios, amigos. Put them boys at the playoffs. They might not have recovered from that. Yeah, the Bucks are the better team right now. I'm not telling you they're not. And I'm not telling you there's no path for them to win this game. One of these fellas right here to the right may have a legitimate path. But I'm going to stick with my team getting 4 Sunday Night Football. They should have covered on primetime the last time against Cincinnati. It just unforeseen things that almost never happen. How the hell do you muff a block punt? But in this one, I don't think nothing crazy happens. I think this one probably comes down to the wire. I think Dallas may even win it. I'm going to take the Cowboys. Al?
Yeah, I'm going to take the home dog. This is really a bet against Tampa Bay off its 40-17 blowout last week at the Chargers. And NFL favorites, they've gone just 85 and 108 ATS off a 10-point or greater upset win. So I'm going to fade Tampa here.
Sean, talk to me.
Yeah, I think it's a competitive game. I don't really have a strong opinion on the side. I think the total's too high, 48.5. I really like that over last week. I talked about it here on the show, but with the Bucks and the Chargers. and that one got over handily. It got to 57 total points. I like the way the Cowboys defense has been playing lately. I think that's kind of fueled their semi turnaround here. They had that, really high scoring game in Washington, which was, what would we see, 17 points in the first three quarters and then 41 in the fourth or whatever that was. So since then, still the over trend in play. Their last, what's the over? 4-1 in the Cowboys' last five, but I think these totals here at home are creeping up a little bit. The last time they played in prime time against Cincy, that game stayed under the total of 50. I'll go under the total here.
Al, do you have the stat for primetime totals this season? What are
I can only look at Monday and Thursday. I don't segregate Sunday night from Sunday afternoon. So I
It's
can tell
definitely
you,
been late in the season here. The last couple of weeks, it feels like it's been mostly unders, but
but I can look it up and get back to you on that.
cool? Last game of the week, we got the Green Bay Packers laying 14.5 on Monday Night Football on the New Orleans Saints. The banged up, beat up New Orleans Saints, but can they muster something here? Sean, how you feeling?
yeah, yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, New Orleans kind of drained the tank there last week in that attempted comeback against the Commanders, fell just short. Now they go on the road for this game in Green Bay. This I hate laying this many points, but I do feel like this is the kind of situation where the Packers usually show up and roll late in the season at home, facing a dome team in the Saints. Um, not a situation where I'm running to lay the points when you've got the Packers coming off four straight ATS wins. They had that blowout win in the nationally televised game last Sunday night as well. So I think even though they're laying so many points, I think Green Bay will be a little popular, but I can't get behind. I can't get behind New Orleans here in this spot. So it would be Packers or nothing in this one.
Yeah, I don't like the game either, but I got to take the Saints. 14.5, I'm going to take the Saints. 14-point win for the Packers is probably what ends up happening here. We'll see. 13, 14, somewhere in there. Maybe have a chance for a late field goal. The kicker misses. Everybody's upset. Oh, my God. How could you miss that? Everybody's upset. It just seems like this one might set up for that. What day is this, too? This is 2 days before Christmas. Oof. I can see it setting up. Give me the Saints. ugly cover by the Saints. Al?
Yeah, I was just looking at the over-unders on the Monday and Thursday night, primetime games. I mean, there was a stretch, not this season, but at the end of the 2022 season and into 2023 where the unders were dominating. They were 32-20. But this season, the overs are 21-15.
Yeah, I thought so. Remember,
but recently the last four have gone under. But
yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, last week was a clean sweep, I guess.
Yeah. Because I
yeah,
remember
but
for a minute it was just like just take the under in prime time. Yeah, that's the play.
That was like 2 seasons ago and a little bit last year. And there's a stretch where it was something crazy.
Right.
But
correct. Ever unders kind of came back in here recently, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking like from December of 2022. How many in a row did it cash? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 in a row. At one point, the unders cashed. And then there was another stretch from October 23, 2023, where they cashed 7 in a row. But yeah, it's swung the other way now, and now the overs have been coming in.
There we go.
What we're talking about Green Bay? Yeah, I'm going to take the home team. Mainly because Green Bay's, I like playing on Monday night teams at home off back-to-back road games. They usually come home and do fairly well, and especially if they're playing a non-division opponent. So I'll lay the points with Green Bay.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this week of Picks from the DawgHouse NFL edition. That's all the plays for this week. Of course, I will have plays for you over at the site this weekend. It's a loaded week. I'll have a loaded card this week. I really like a lot this week in the NFL. I think it a lot falls into a lot of my spots and situations. I tried to talk through some of them here. So you can scoop up my best bets for the NFL this weekend. I'll have a pretty handsome card on Sunday for sure. And I should have something on the standalones, the Thursday, the Saturday, and Sunday night, Monday night. So be on the lookout for everything from me this week in the NFL. Al, what you got going this week?
Well, I mean, obviously I'm focused on basketball right now. I'll have a couple bowl games this week, and I'll have NFL as well. I'm going to pass on the NFL on Thursday, but I'll have a lot of plays Saturday and Sunday.
There you go. Hop on Big Al McMorty. Been rolling. Been rolling. Sean, what you got going, my man, this week over at Pick Dawgz Premium?
Yeah, I've been a little lower volume here in the NFL the last few weeks, but I would imagine this Sunday probably have 3 or 4 plays, maybe 5 on Sunday in the NFL. Then we've also got the college football playoff, of course, on kicking off Friday night with one game and then full slate on Saturday. So we've got that. We've got some bowl games, and as Al said, basketball's kind of slowly becoming more and more of a focus as well at this time of year. So lots of action.
Yep, lots of action. Hop on at Pick Dawgz Premium. Of course, tons of hoops for me as well, too. So you can catch that with me as well. Pair us all up. Pair them two up. Pair me and each of them up. However you want to do it, you can do it. Or anybody else on the site at the awesome roster we have here at Pick Dawgz, man. We're just trying to keep it rolling. Do what we do. We'll just kick the crap out of the books. See y'all soon, man. Same time, same program next week. We're out of here. Peace.